Magic Chef of Ice and Fire, Chapter 1: The Pursuit of Ice and Snow Sacrifices. The sun was like a fire, and a tall, high-spirited man walked slowly with a child. The man wears a red-hot magic robe, and the golden flame embroidered on his chest represents the identity of his magician. The long blonde hair is scattered behind the back, and the bronze face is as sharp as a knife and a chisel. However, his brown eyes were filled with faint sadness. "Read the ice, are you tired?" The man looked down at the child in his hand. The boy is only tall at the waist of a tall man. His appearance is similar to that of a tall man, but his face is softer. The same blonde hair, although young, is handsome compared to a tall man. More eye-catching. He has a pair of blue eyes, and his body looks a little thin. Because of his tiredness, his face is pale and his hair is faint. Firmly shook his head. "Dad, I am not tired." "Are we going to see my mother?" I miss my mother." The tall man looked up at the sun in the air, and the glaring sun seemed to not affect him. "Yes, we will see your mother. For 10 years, you are already 10 years old. For 10 years, the world. Big, but there is no place for us to be in the same place. Anyway, this time I must see your mother, even if it pays the price of life." After all, Nian Bing is still young, and some of his incomprehensible look at his father. "Dad, why don't they let us see my mother?" The tall man snorted and seemed to be squirting fire. They. I read the ice, you are still young. When you grow up, you will understand. For your mother, Dad can give everything. However, I really can't bear you. You are still so small. Go to the village in front. Do you stay there and wait for Dad? No, Dad, I want to go to find my mother with you. Mom has already stopped me. Don't you want me? I read the ice circle and grabbed my father's big hand, lest he should leave himself. The tall man took a reel from his arms and handed it to the ice. "Remember the way Dad taught you to steer the magic scroll? You can go with me, but at a critical juncture, you must remember to use this scroll. It will take you to a safe place." It was the day before Dad painted the magic array. I read the magic scroll into the hand, and nodded gracefully, saying, "Dad, I know." The tall man sighed and said, "It's a pity that time is too short. Your talent is better than mine. If time allows me to teach you more things, maybe you will become the top fire magician on the whole continent. But, the time I am not allowed to wait any longer. If we can't get to the Fort of Ice tomorrow, we will never see your mother." I read the ice and I didn't understand. I nodded. "Dad, I will become a powerful fire magician like you in the future." The tall man showed a hint of embarrassment in his eyes. "Remember that when I was with your mother, we discussed it. If you have a child, what kind of magic should he practice? She is an ice magician, and I am a fire system. The ice and fire are not compatible, and our children can only choose one. At that time, your mother said that if I had a boy, I would learn the fire magic with me, and if I had a girl, I would learn ice magic with her. Now think of it, she seems to be in front of my eyes, the words are still in the ear, the Iraqis have gone." Having said that, his voice suddenly became a bit high. "I, the fire guide, swears that I must stop the inheritance ceremony of the goddess of ice and take back my wife." 3 days later. It is a mountain about 100 meters high. The mountain peak is steep, although not high, it gives a strong feeling. The blue-gray mountain looks like a chilling feeling. Although some plants grow above, they are extremely sparse, perhaps due to the steep mountain relationship. Except for people who walk on the foothills for very many years, it is difficult for ordinary people to climb such steep peaks. At the foot of the mountain peak, a large river flows from the south to the north. This is a famous mother river in Yangon, the name, Azure River. The river is close to 2/3 of the Yangon continent, and it is nearly 2,000 kilometers long. Its source is in the northernmost ice polar province. 60% of the province's area is covered by glaciers. In the summer of 2 seasons, the glaciers melted and merged into the Azure River and continued into the distant sea. The river is wide, the narrowest point is also close to 100 meters wide, and the widest point is up to several kilometers wide. Named after the rapid flow of clear water in the river. It has bred several countries and dozens of people in the province. Although occasional episodes will bring about a certain degree of flooding, due to the proper governance of the countries, people living along the river can live a peaceful and comfortable life and live by the river. The steep peaks and the peaks are only less than 10 square meters. Suddenly, there is a red glow on the ground. It is a light spot, the light points move quickly, and a red 6-pointed star is outlined in the blink of an eye. The temperature at the top of the peak rises sharply, and above the 6-pointed star, water-like ripples occur due to the burning. The ripples slowly trembled, the red light suddenly thrived, and the surrounding magical elements seemed to be screaming cheerfully. In the strong elemental fluctuations, a gray figure appeared quietly. A figure smashed out of the fiery red magical array and almost fell to the ground. It was a child who looked like a teenager. He is exactly the ice that he used to find his relatives with his father 3 days ago. The handsome little face showed the look of fear. The short blonde hair seemed a little messy, the feet were soft, and the bottom of the buttocks fell to the ground, breathing with a big mouth. "Dad," the mother, why is this?" Tears flowed down the face, losing the pain of a close relative, no matter who, is hard to bear, not to mention that he is only a child of only 10 years old. After crying for a while, the tired ice curled up on a rock on the top of the mountain and fell asleep. When he was young, his future was confused. He didn't know what he should do. The faint blue and red light flashed in his arms, and the surrounding fire cloud and ice elements quickly condensed toward his young body. This strange process, which lasted for a meal, quietly disappeared. I don't know how long it took. The violent shocks and pains made Nian Bing wake up from sleep, and the 3 slender figures stood in front of him, and the severe pain in his chest made him cough. Blood rushes out of the corner of his mouth. There was a shoe print with Lois on the chest of the gray cloth. The 3 men all wore blue magic robes, and their blue long hair seemed to blend into one, as if their bodies were condensed with ice, giving people an unspeakable sense of coldness. Going up, they are about 3 or 40 years old, one person in the center, the left chest of the magic robe, embroidered with 3 snowflakes carved with nail-sized blue spar. Followed by him on both sides, obviously in class. Only one. Fire-based momentary movement of the magic array real. Unfortunately, it is used by a child, leaving the breath is too obvious. The central magician said faintly. Seeing these 3 people, Xiao Bing's handsome face suddenly became distorted. It's the bad guys of you. My mother, my father. I don't know where it's coming from, I'm so strong. The ground was afraid and rushed to the man in the middle. At this point, he has forgotten that he has the ability of a junior magician. In the impulse, there is only instinct. Little hybrid, looking for death. The left hand of the magician waved, a 3-inch diameter water bomb instantly came out, directly hit the boy's chest. The water bomb is only the most common level of magic, attack power not strong, read the ice snoring, a squat back a few steps backward, sitting on the ground, his hand. Because he helped himself stabilize his body and was wiped out by the rock next to him. The magician in the middle glanced at his companion. Enough, he is just a child. I don't want him to experience too much pain. Yes, the respected ice and snow sacrifices adults. The magician who made the shot promised and hurried back to the side. Ice and snow sacrifices look at the ice and lightly say, "Children, I would not hurt you, but why, you are their children, for the dignity of the ice tower, you cannot continue to exist. Hand over the stone of the goddess of ice, I will give you a happy one." In his capacity, nature does not search by hand, but the tone of the command exudes invisible majesty. Xiaoshan keeps his promise, and the airspeed has just passed.